London, Getty London, September 21st. I am coming to London, and Left It Wall is going to be screening at the Bill Murray at 3 p.m. That's September 21st, the Bill Murray, 3 p.m. It will be the only UK screening of Left It Wall. Can't wait to see you there. Grab your tickets now at romplicone.com. London, can't wait to see you again. It's been too long. romplicone.com for tickets. See you September 21st. Episode 48. Valentina Martelli. Valentina Martelli is an Italian journalist, entrepreneur, and innovator. And that's barely scratching the surface of everything she does. She's a brilliant mind, has a work ethic second to none, and on top of that, she's a genuine and kind person. I met her through a mutual acquaintance via my neighborhood of San Pedro. I'm honored to call her a colleague and a friend, and for the first time, I learn her story. Please welcome to the show, Valentina Martelli. Valentina Martelli, so good to see you. It's been a while.
It's so good to see you, Ron. It has been a while, but, here we are in this city, going strong.
Yeah, both in Los Angeles. You go back and forth between Los Angeles and Italy. So I want to kind of start basic here. I've known you for a few years now. You're an incredibly inspirational person in so many ways. Your work ethic is beyond admirable. Meeting you, and I mean this sincerely, meeting you is seriously one of the best things that has happened to me as a result of the pandemic, because I probably never would have met you if it wasn't for the pandemic. So it's like, if, all the terrible things with the pandemic, there are a few things where it's like, oh, wow, but it made this thing happen. And you are one of my lemonade out of lemon situations.
I'm your post-pandemic person.
Yes.
Somebody else might use that for something else, but we can use that, the post-pandemic person, the PPP.
There we go. Perfect. But you have a hand in so many different things. So I want to ask you, when somebody asks you, what would you describe what you do?
That's funny. It's so fun. Thank you, Ron, for having me here, first of all. You are one of the great gift that this city gave me. You are such a genuine person, a great comedian, open heart individual that is so rare to find again in this city. Could it be because we are Italian? No, we don't say that. No, we don't say that. But, Italians are Italian. Back to your question. It's funny you asked me that specific question, because sometimes I palm myself on that. Recently I was at a couple events. So this is Valentina Martelli. And people look at me like, do you want to go? And sometimes I'm like, I'm a journalist because that's my core. That's what I was born in. And I was for majority of my adult life, and I'm still am. But I also feel so strong, this entrepreneur. And again, that one, I feel so strong as an entrepreneur right now. And I think that word match a little bit of everything I do, from, the creation of events and formats, as as forum where people come and meet and talk about the industry, to try to help new business, new venture, always in the industry. So in the audiovisual field. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah, if I had to pick one word, I would pick entrepreneur, but it's like you do so many just things within that it's yeah. Well, what got you
cross-industry strategist?
There you go. That's a good one. I like
that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Print it. It's official.
Bring it up. It's on.
What got you into journalism?
I've always wanted to be a journalist. When you go elementary school, one of the first composition, the teacher asked, so what do you want to be? Oh, you want to be a firefighter, or, I want to be a mom. And I don't know why. I've always said I wanted either to be a journalist or a stewardess, because I've always liked airplanes. Don't ask me why. I end up kind of making
Yeah, you
most
made it happen.
of
You really
and
made it happen. You spend enough time on planes. So.
I spent enough time on plans, and so I started to write for the newspaper of my high school newspaper, and I was obsessed. And one day, my mom was like, my father made me study economics. I majored in economics, so that's maybe my entrepreneur side that kick in from time to time. But I wanted so much to write, tell people stories. And keep in mind, we're talking about the 90s, when actually journalism had really a meaning. You would tell people there were no internet, there were nothing, television and newspaper. And so that's how I started. And my mom at a bakery in Italy. She met this guy who was working for the local newspaper and told him, "Hey, my daughter wants so much to be a journalist." And he says, "Well, tell her to show up at the office." So I show up. They gave me a bunch of papers, a pen, and they told me, "Now go and write." And I was like, "What am I going to write?" He says, "Well, you have this little territory. Let's pretend, an area, like a neighborhood. Go and find something." So I remember went to knock at the door at the Carabinieri. And for, the people who don't know what the Carabinieri are the Italian version of the military police, but is always also cover the local situations, in the neighborhood. So I went there, knock at the door. They look at me. I was like 19. And they said, "What the heck are you? What do you want?" I'm like, "I want to write." And they say, okay. The following day I get a call. And there is this young Carabinieri agent that probably was, felt like, maybe she's cute, maybe, I feel close. And it was like, "Hey, look, this might be nothing, but they stole the seats into a local small stadium." I'm like, they stole the seats? Why would they stole, where you sit down and, watch soccer? I'm like, why? So I went, I did a little bit of investigation. The following day, they tell me your piece is on. I look at the piece in the newspaper and I'm fine. I lift the newspaper and I pull down and my mom is like, what did I do? And it's the first page. And I uncover a sort of like a mafia ring. Yes, that's how I started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so where was this?
North of Italy, next to Venice. Okay. Next to Venice. So I got my pen and paper on January 13, and my first article was published on January 17. And see, now I have also all this fireworks behind me. So I guess 13 and 17 are not that bad of numbers so much for me.
Wow, that's amazing. And so then when did you start? Because you worked with RAI, the big broadcaster in Italy, and you still do, correct?
Yes, I still do. So after that, that was for the local newspaper. 6 months later, I got hired by the local television because they heard about this aggressive young journalist who was not saying no to anything. And they were like, "Okay, let's see if you can do really everything." And they started to put me reporting sports. And it wasn't necessarily soccer; it was basketball, volleyball, and rugby. So the sports that nobody really wanted in Italy. So
basketball is kind of popular there now, isn't it?
Now, yes. Again, remember which period it was. So I started to report that, and I was pretty good. And 3 months later, I got my program. And then RAI, editor-in-chief for the local station. So think about RAI, which is the Italian national television, as a sort of CBS. So they have, CBS LA, CBS Vegas, every state has a local channel, right? And so the one of Veneto, which is the region when I'm originally for, it says, well, he called me. He had somebody calling me and says, well, our person who does sports is retiring. We want a new face. So I went there and they made me wait for the meeting. And I took off without talking. I'm like, I have a job. They want to make me wait. So they called me again and I went back again. And then I started with them as a sport journalist. And that was the time when basketball starting to become big. We had Tony Kukoc, Vinny Del Negro, Mike D'Antoni, which, if you are familiar with basketball of that time, they were really big name. Mike D'Antoni became the coach of the Knicks. Vinny Del Negro became the coach of the Clippers. So I met Kobe when he was very young because his father used to play in Italy. So, and then my career went on and on. I became a war correspondent. I started creating my programs and Spy News. And then it brought me to the the second part of my life, which is LA.
So what brought you to LA? That was going to be my next question. Love. Okay. All right.
Nothing to do with journalism. Not at all.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we don't have to go into it if you don't want to, but
no, it's fine. It's a funny story. I mean, after being a sport correspondent, as I said, I started to report about the conflicts in the former Yugoslavia. Mm-hmm. And so I did Kosovo and Macedonia, and then was the time. It's a complicated thing to explain because you kind of become addictive to that kind of situation in which you have, and keep in mind that was the time where no social network, right? So you really have the possibility to make a difference and tell a story that people know or don't know, but you have that possibility. So after that, I started to create this News for Kids, which was live every day, and I was hosting it. And then, so my career was going up. So I came here on vacation, simple vacation, in the summertime with my son. At the time, it was a kid. And I, on the 4th of July, out of any possible day in the world, I went to Venice Beach when Venice Beach was still cool. And then I met my husband, my future husband. And it was kind of love at first sight.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny because, it was love at first sight for me and my son. So I felt even more, invested in this relationship. And then we started to date long distance for a year and a half.
Wow.
And one of us one time me and one time him, one of us would take off after every 21 days, not longer, and would come and see the other one for 3 days, 2 days, 1 week, 3 months. We did that. And
wow. Then, from Italy to California.
Yes.
Man, well, you didn't even find somebody on the closer coast. It wouldn't have been as bad if it was New York.
My husband always says that the 4th of July is the day we celebrate my loss of independence.
That's funny.
So that's my day. And so, a year later, he proposed. And he came to Italy, proposed. I accepted. So pretend it's 7 o'clock in the evening. He proposed to me in my house after we had dinner in a beautiful place. And then the following morning, he got the flight, went back. I went to work. HR called me and they offered me to host the most important news in Italy, which is TG1, the most important edition. And they offered me my own programming, current affair. And I said, sorry, I'm moving to LA.
Wow. Oh, wow. So you turned it down straight up.
I turned it down.
Oh.
So sometimes I think about this sliding door, right?
Yeah.
And then I moved here, LA, 2005. And I went from reporting war to reporting about Hollywood.
Yeah. So you were able to kind of keep the relationship with RAI at least. They let you do Hollywood reporting.
Well, the beginning they didn't. We are, and it's one of the things I fought strongly to bring ahead, the fact that if you think about California is so far away, we are in a crazy paradox, closer to to Asia than we are to Europe, and yet And when Europe think about United States, they most often think about the East Coast, New York or Miami, so LA. And I was like, look, and this was my pitch to my company. LA is not just entertainment with just between inverted comma, of course. But, it is the coast that is closer to Asia. It is the place, is a trend-setting area. It is the far west for a reason. But it's also the place that, because it's the far west, they give more possibility to people who have ideas. Because if you go to New York and to the East Coast, there are big corporations, big names, established name. In here, there is still a little bit. I mean, what time is going away, sadly, that too. But there is still a little bit of time to experiment, to find something. And if a project that you have failed is the project that failed, not you. Instead, for European, if something that you have created doesn't go ahead, then you have failed. So I started to tell this story. Look, there are tech here. There is a lot of technology. And you know it since you are now playing very close with technology, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is entertainment. There is culture, because there is so much attention to the culture that this side of the world doesn't have, that America doesn't have, that there is attention to everything that brings culture. There is politics.
Oh yeah.
There is economic. There is attention to Europe. There is the fact that now LA is one of the places where you can eat better in the entire world, because there are some bit expensive.
Just a bit. But,
so I started to report about everything. Not just entertainment. I developed my own program that was called US Generation. There was, a 7-minute segment. I invented the 7-minute segment before somebody else did, but, which were stories of the newer generation of immigrants, what they bring from their country and what they would like to bring back. And so I had stories from people who were actors and wanted to be actors, to people who were in food or in tech or in many things. And it was really fun. And then I took all these things and in 2019, I had another idea. And so this is the cliffhanger. I had another idea. And that's how we met, through my next step in life.
Yeah. So that's when all the ITTV stuff started going on.
Yes.
So I wanted to go there next. And, this is coming from someone who has attended some of your festivals and loves the people and ideas that you curate. I look forward to it every year. What do you see as some of the top collaborations between the U.S. and Italy?
So ITTV started, as I said, in 2019. The reason why is because somebody came to me and says, "Oh, they're doing another movie festival," and I was like, "Okay." Nobody talk about the business aspect. Everybody is so busy with celebrating actors, actresses, ideas, and everything, which is great. But what's behind? I mean, I remember when I used to go and do junkets as journalists, which, as you know, there are opportunity for journalists to interview in advance actor, director, and producer. Nobody wanted to interview the producers. And to me, the producers were the most interesting interview because they had all the secrets of what was going on. And they were always so generous in telling you, all the aspects. I'm like, well, I want to start putting together that thing. So, the business aspect of developing TV series, or more than TV series, everything that was at the beginning going into streaming, because, we both remember Netflix delivering tape, like videotape. And then one of the blue is like, oh, it's not videotape anymore. It's digital. What does it mean, digital? Oh, you can watch it on your TV. And that was a huge change to me in the narrative, because to me, that opened to what, as foreigner, Italian, I've been always seen. You mean, if you ask to any immigrant, they will tell you that they learn about America watching TV series, even more than film, because I remember discovering what a baby shower was watching Friends, and asking my then fiance, now husband, why are they washing a baby? Are they giving a shower to a baby that is not even born? I mean, the baby is not born. Why you call it baby shower? And he explained, it's like bridal shower, baby shower. That's the meaning. So, and discovering city, location, desire to this, and the same to me happened with the streamers. The streamers starting to open to Americans a path to international content and international stories. So, of course, America, I'm Italian. I'm like, okay, let me start like in a bridge for now between two different countries that I know very well. I wanted at that time to sit at the same, I call it living room, because mine, as you know, is a industry only event where only people in the industry come and get invited and sit down. Do you have a cat?
I do, yeah. She's
Yes, say hi. I love the cats. Cats are always welcome.
Yeah, she wants a little.
Hi.
This is Lucy. Yeah.
Hey, I used to have a black cat named Ursula.
Ursula. Aw.
Ursula.
Aw.
So yeah, she's always welcome. Cats are always welcome in any podcast.
Yeah.
So going back, I started between the two a conversation, and then it dawned on me why I don't make this an international conversation. So right now, ITTV has turned into an international forum that is held once a year here in Los Angeles. And again, as you know, is selected 100 people in the industry, mostly producer, writer, directors, distributors. So people in the industry who sit down in what I call a protected environment, and they talk about the industry. And there is a lot to talk right now. And during that conversation and then the follow-up networking, a lot of people meet and develop new relationships and projects and ideas and opportunities, I would say. That's, to me, the focus of ITTV. ITTV is a network connector. Can it work? I don't know.
I've met so many cool people, and then it's neat because you see a lot of the same people the following year, and you might not remember their name right away, but you remember their story, and you remember what they do, and you remember what they're working on, and then of course, like as soon as you see each other, you remember the names again, and you pick up where you left off, and it's a really, really cool, really cool event. Met so many amazing people. Well, as the industry is changing, like in show business, and we even said a few things to each other off mic about that topic. Do you think there will be a future? And I'm totally asking this out of self-interest. I'm sure you would realize without me telling you, but do you think there's a future where, creatives might be able to head out to Italy and places like that and have careers there?
Well, I think, and I don't know if the people from, SAG or Writer Guild might like me saying that, but unfortunately, they are the one who holding up, a lot of creators, because there is so much need and so much desire from the international side to build this kind of relationship. If you look at the recent numbers from Amazon and Netflix, they, in the first quarter of 2024, they have produced more outside the US than in the US. So right. That says a lot. I mean, I think was today's number, 40% less in production in Los Angeles. Where do people go? Of course.
Well, there's a lot of factors at play there. And obviously, I mean, hey, I was on the picket line. I support the strikes 100% because it had to happen. But the studios are still not greenlighting things. And a lot of that has to do with the inflation. A lot of it has to do with, they just want their quarterlies to be okay. So they're not greenlighting thing. And a lot of it has to do with, honestly, California has just been like the big behemoth for so long that they don't make it easy for people to film here. And they're like, well, we're California. What are you going to do? And in the digital age we're living in, people are saying, we're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to go to New Mexico. We're going to go to New Orleans. We're going to go to Europe. I mean, that's a big part of it too. They're just leaving now, but more than ever before. But
let's take out for a second the commissioner, whatever is the streamer or the broadcaster or everything. If you tomorrow get a job offer for a screenwriting in Italy, how is that going to work with your union?
Well, I actually am not in the WGA. I don't have the points for it.
Well,
so if I was,
but that's one of the problem. That's one of the problems because there are no the salary, the revenue you would have abroad in any other countries besides the States, or maybe another place besides Hollywood, is not as high as the one you would have here. Therefore, there is less percentage made for any player involved in everything. Yet, there are possibilities because there are several, I mean, again, if you are willing to move to Italy, let's say Italy because you love Italy and you are Italian, but Germany or New Zealand because there are opportunity to go and work there, wouldn't you want to do it? Yes. Wouldn't you want to be eventually still part of the WGA if you're part of the WGA, or the SAG if you're an actor, or DGA if you're a DGA, whatever it is? Yes. But they have to make that easier for you guys.
But don't they have, because is the WGA even in that territory? I don't know if they are.
No, but
wouldn't it just be?
I just went broader. I just went a little broader.
Right.
Hey,
so wouldn't they just have their own version of it over there, like whatever it may be? Like I know Italenta.
You will still be American. You're still American. That will be still
right.
your union. So that's the tricky thing right now. There is a strong reluctance from Hollywood to open the door to an international world, and that's. Sure. The thing I am trying to do with my forum to help Hollywood understand that that's not enemy here. There are just people who want to collaborate, because what the streamer did do, the moment you have a show that is Finnish, South Korean, Italian, American, it gets automatically distributed in at least 160, 107 territories. So let's try to work together. And I think, and I fear, the skepticism is still there and still strong. When I meet with producers that are from other countries that are here in the States, here in LA, and I've been working, I have several friends that are from Israel, but they've been here in the States forever. They produce amazing TV show, that the struggle is always that one, getting their story in. And, the more international you have, the more opportunity there is to work abroad and collaborate. Mm-hmm. So, I think the main issue has to be solved here in Hollywood. And to understand is a little bit like AI. There is no going back. It's not tomorrow. It's not that tomorrow suddenly everything works. Money are good. Interest rates are not that bad. California gave the money from the Film Commission in Hollywood. It makes everything easier, and everything get back to here because the door has been open.
Right.
So
no, that's part of it. I know plenty of friends and colleagues of mine where they went to Atlanta because they were getting more work out there, and it's actually a very expensive city, but it's not as expensive as Los Angeles. Or they're trying to go to Europe because they just want, they just really like the lifestyle there, and they're like, well, if I can do my thing out of there, that sounds really appealing to me. I fall into that category. We're really living in the digital village, and that's, I think, being reflected in production. And I feel like my attitude is, well, you can either like focus on the way things were, but there's no going back, like you said, or you can just kind of see the opportunity of it.
Yeah.
And, for me, it's like, well, if I could ever have a scenario where I can do what I love doing, but live in Italy doing it, that would be 20-something-year-old me would be doing cartwheels, because I had a chance to move to Italy when I was in my 20s, and I didn't because I was worried I wouldn't be able to do comedy out there. And now there's English stand-up in Italy. There wasn't then. There is now. So if I would have been in that situation now, I could have said, yeah.
And also another thing the pandemic brought is, we are not anymore stuck to office.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do our job, unless it's a job that needs our hands, like literally fix something. You can do it from everywhere. So this is why this kind of open mind should be endorsed. This open territory, open collaboration should be endorsed more than fought. There are friends of mine that are big showrunner that have done huge success throughout the time, that are now working in France, collaborating with Sweden and doing show in Poland. But they had to take the decision. And one of them was like, I have to get out of the WGA. So I just really, there is no enemy here. We are in a situation that is very much fluid. And fluid is a word that gets sometimes overratedly used, but it's very true right now. There is nothing set in stone. It's an uncharted territory. Economics are terrible. There is people who's really struggling for money. There is, even the IATSE, the people on set, people work 16 hours a day, and then they have to work 16 hours a day, because then maybe there is another strike another time for something else, and they have to bring food at home. So I really believe into collaboration in any field. And I think right now, to me, Hollywood, but again, I'm a one little voice, but I will keep on standing strong. There need to be more collaboration. If you think about, the Emirates right now have a tax credit that is 70-80%. So pretty much.
Oh, there's some places. I mean, Greece. You
pretty much get it for. No, I'm not saying for free, but there is so much desire to bring back and to bring business. That they are opening doors. So I'm sorry, either Hollywood decide to step in and take the opportunity and marry into the opportunity and make for people like you or any other people who want to collaborate internationally easily, and vice versa. Okay. I have created this showrunner immersive, which is an immersive course that we do in Florence, Italy, where we bring Americans to teach as well, to teach younger Italian this kind of profession, because show running is not a profession that is known in most of European countries. Very well known in England, is very well known in France, but in others not. To try to collaborate even more. So European or international, I like to say, are trying to work with that. They're just waiting the green light from Hollywood to make this even stronger and easier for everybody wants to work in both areas. I don't know if this answered your question, but we can, at ITTV this year, there will be a lot of this conversation. So Ron, Get ready for your next ITTV.
Well, there was a lot of it last year. And I remember, it was sort of a little bit eye-opening to me, because I would have these similar conversations with just my comedian friends saying similar things. We're not business people, we're the weirdos, we're the creatives. But then you hear these business people saying what you were, and you're like, oh, we're not just spitballing. This is actually what's happening. Like this is happening. It's real. So I guess we at least have the right idea, but now it's like, well, what do we do about it? Like what do we do with it? How do we figure out how to make this happen? And I'm fine. I'm fine being an indie guy because I've always been that guy. I would love to figure out a way to do it over there.
It's going to be interesting to see, and there is a lot of skepticism, and I'm very en garde looking at that. The world of blockchain and how digital finance might help, because if you look at what works on in television, and I'm talking in television because television sums up everything, and I mean right now look at theatrical is a little bit tricky. What works and what get pushed is either things that have an existing IP, so remake of big things in the past, or things that have a strong community support. I mean, if you put a video game and transform it into something that is a TV series, I'm just saying video game because you have the community base who's going to follow you. And that community sometimes pitching $100 or $50 or $20 a person might, support new projects. So this is going to be interesting to look. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to change much the dynamic in short time. But, with all the cryptocurrency, that's another thing that is not going to go away. I mean, when you were talking about Bitcoin 10 years ago, they were looking at you like crazy. By the way, my mistake. I had in front of me 5
You didn't invest?
5 real Bitcoins because I did a report at that time. I've actually had the miners in front of me. So, one of those people you'd never meet. And they came to me with Bitcoins, like the Bitcoin. And
they offered you 5?
They offered me 5. They didn't offer me. I was bargaining 5.
That's millions of dollars.
And they wanted $100 for each Bitcoin. And I said,
you didn't do it.
Don't know. Let me call my husband. And he's like, no, it's bullshit. Don't do it. Don't waste time.
Oh, no.
Guess who is the one now talking my ears off about Bitcoin? Him.
Do you remind him of that? I mean,
all the time.
Wow.
All the time. Every time.
You have millions right now. I'm pretty sure 5 Bitcoins, like that's
I think millions. We are 60 or 70,000. So
yeah. Oh yeah. No, my math's a little off.
Still
a lot of money though.
Still compared to $500, a lot of money.
And it would still be going up because they've only made so much of it. And Bitcoin, I mean, my guess, and again, just a guess, I don't know, but I have a feeling all the other altcoins are eventually going to go away and it's just going to be Bitcoin. That's my guess.
Yes. So, that said, there are no mining anymore, so unless they find a way to mine, but that's another conversation.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So digital currency is here. How will it work? I don't know. All the banks are moving to, through XRP to make it like, a real kind of currency. So we'll see.
We'll
see. That might be a way. That might be another way for people to go and find money financing their dreams. But in the meantime, we keep on trying.
So last question, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to just pick one, California or Italy?
Oh, Italy.
All right, fair enough. I had a feeling that was going to be your answer. I just didn't know if there'd be any hesitation.
How long it took me to pick. I'm sorry. I think California is a wonderful state. My husband is born and raised in LA, so it's not many. When I've always been philo American. I always wanted to go in the States, and I always said the best place to work in the States in New York, the best place to have fun in LA is in the States is LA. The best place to live in the States is San Diego. San Diego is a reasonable as price. LA, I don't know how much fun we're having right now. And New York, well, so I don't know. I'm thinking that. And again, you reevaluate your roots, and the roots at the end pull very strong. So Italy forever. Sorry, America, and I'm American.
Where can people go to learn more about you?
Oh, well, that's like asking me what I do. So LinkedIn, Valentina Martelli, my website for ITTV, which is ittvfestival.com. My website, valentina-martelli.com, or just Google my name, Valentina Martelli. A bunch of things might come up. Don't believe everything you read.
Valentina, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, Ron. Put in your calendar, November. It's coming soon.
That was Valentina Martelli. What an amazing life. Check out all of her stuff. Music for the 1000 podcast is provided by Andrew Saxonov. Be sure to check out his podcast, the Baywatching Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Please do leave us a 5-star review, would you? Every 5-star review helps. This is still a new show. Please help spread the word. And if you want to support this show on the sustainability end, you can do so over at patreon.com/romplacone. For a give what you can level, you get full stand-up clips not available anywhere else, a bonus podcast, you get the 1,000 episodes before they're released to the public, and I'll make you a theme song, and you get some top secret info. Drew and I are working on a new project that there's no public information about it yet. It's only the patrons are hip to it. So patreon.com/romplacone, even $1 a month goes a long way. All right, we are almost at the 50 mark. We're getting there. We're that much closer to 50. Lucy is very vocal. I don't know if you can hear her, but she is my co-host now and always. So if she has things to say, that's just how it goes. And she's congratulating me. She's saying, you're almost at 50. Good for you. We're almost at episode 50, a little bit closer to 1,000. See y'all next week. Hey guys, Ron Placone here. Take your own 1,000 challenge. No, you don't need to interview 1,000 people, although if you want to do that, go for it. Your 1,000 challenge can be whatever you want. Maybe you want to call a friend out of the blue once a week. Maybe you want to read a book every month. Maybe you want to start a different garden every season. I guess that might be dependent on where you live. Look, the point of the challenge is taking on an endeavor that enriches your life in some way, and it can be measured. And then, of course, you do it regularly. That's what 1,000 is doing for me, and hopefully for you too. The main reason for this podcast and every podcast I've ever done is to build community. So take your own challenge. Then join our Facebook group. It's called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? ? That's 1,000 What's Your Challenge ? And post about what your 1,000 challenge is and the progress you're making. All I ask is that people be encouraging of each other's challenges. This is personal and vulnerable, so be cool. There's enough negativity on social media. We don't need to add to it. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, hopefully in the future we'll be expanding to places like Discord, Reddit, but for now, we're starting on Facebook. And again, that Facebook group is called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? See you there.